Joining me right now is lightweight prospect Sherrard Blackledge. Thank you, Sherrard, for the time today. I see you're driving. Where are you heading to?
I'm headed to strength and conditioning, and thank you for having me, brother.
No doubt, no doubt. Now, I want to start in 2018. You went pro after a very successful amateur career. How did you know you were ready to enter the professional ranks at that time?
Man, you know what? I looked at it like this. Like, I started to get a lot of finishes in the late parts of my amateur career. So I was like, man, these are just gonna roll over into my pro career, and I need to get paid for this. Like, I need to get paid to do this. I was training full time, really. I wasn't really even focusing on work or anything at the time. So yeah, I was like, I need to get paid. I need to make something off of doing this. And one of my coaches actually came to me. I was like, man, I think you're ready to go pro. Like, what do you think? I was like, well, maybe one more belt. Go get one more belt. He's like, nah, man, you need to get paid for this. I was like, you're right, I do need to get paid for this.
How did you manage fighting as an amateur full time? You know, that's something that is hard to do, no matter, even as a pro.
Yeah, man. So, man, I was working at the beginning of my amateur career. I was working, and then my mom was like, hey, won't you come stay with me? And that didn't last too long. That didn't last too long at all. So like, yeah, my brother, my family, they really supported me a lot. They supported me a whole lot. And they just believed in me and just kept supporting me. And so I was able to really focus most of my time and effort into that. Now, like, getting to the gym and stuff, paying gym dues and stuff. I had to, like, man, I had to sell plasma. I had to do all types of crazy stuff to like when I first started to pay my gym dues, to get bus passes and stuff. Because, I mean, being that I did want to focus most of my time on my fight career, and I was training full time. Yeah, man, I just had to do what I had to do. You know, I was working at McDonald's for the long time. I was like, man, this is just a waste of my time right here. What am I doing? Like, I could be putting all of this time and effort into training and making it somewhere. And then as I started to get farther and farther into my career, my amateur career, like, doors started opening, people started believing and started helping me a lot. So it became a little bit easier. Early in my amateur career, it was rough. It was real rough. It was very, very, very rough. I actually took about like a year off, just because it became so depressing to, like, the lifestyle I was living. So I was like, man, I need a break. I need a break from this. Like, I almost stopped fighting.
Damn.
I almost stopped. Yeah, man. People don't understand the sacrifices that you have to make to get to this. Like, my mom always used to say to me, what are you doing? Like, my mom believed in me and everything, but she would always question it. She'd always be like, what are you doing? Like, go to school. Why don't you go back to school? And I'm like, Mom, just gotta have patience. Like, you don't get paid to go to school. You pay to go to school. I said, this is the same thing. I'm paying to set myself up with a future in this, to set myself up, set my dreams up. Like, so I'd be doing the same thing. Like, I could go all the way through school and flunk out at the end. I'd go all the way through school and then find out that the whole time what I was going to school for, I don't really want to do.
Yeah.
So I just had to put that same energy that I would have put into going to college or going back to school or going to a trade school or whatever, into fulfilling my dream, and just stayed focused.
No, definitely, man. It's called on-the-job training. That's what you were doing the whole time, and now, you know, it led you to the Contender series. You went in there last September, got a good win over Cameron Church, but you didn't get the contract, man. How did you handle that? Like, not getting the contract even though you won?
Oh, man, you know, roll with the punches, man. You roll with the punches. I look at it like this: I still won, and I still get an opportunity to come back. It's not like they just skipped over my name. Like, I am blessed that he even mentioned my fight. I'm blessed. Like, he could have easily just been like, oh yeah, well, this contract. Oh, that's it. Like, he could have just, you know what I mean, just went over or gave me a development deal or something. No, he said, hey, look, like, I want to see you back. If you're open, if you accept my invitation, I want to see you back in November. Show us what, you know what I mean? Show us more. Show us more of what you can do. He didn't tell me, oh, you're not ready for the UFC. Go out and catch some more W's, and then come back and talk to us, or just nothing at all. You know, he took the time out of his busy day to acknowledge my fight and to acknowledge what I brought and was willing to bring me back. So I'm happy. I'm happy about it. Yeah, it sucks I didn't get the contract, but I understand it. Going into the UFC 5-0, it's a little premature. That record's premature still. Not a lot of experience still, like especially how stacked the lightweight division is. So to be able to come back, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. You know?
Yeah, it does say something that he wants you to come back right away. Because if he did give you a developmental deal, it would have been like, I don't know about those developmental deals, to be honest with you.
Yeah, especially like right now in this time that we're living in, a developmental deal, I'd have fought 2 times in the next 2 years. Like it would have been hard. These especially a lot of promotions are struggling right now. A lot of promotions are struggling to put on shows. Like, who knows when I would have fought again? Who knows?
Yeah, big momentum going into this fight. Did you learn most from this fight, or was there another fight that benefited you more in your career?
My fourth fight, my fourth professional fight is what really like solidified everything for me, because of like that was a tough fight, and there's no footage or anything of that fight. And whoever was there and got to witness that fight, that was a tough fight. I took the fight on like 7 days or 10 days notice. The guy missed weight by 7 pounds, and then he happened to be a beast. Like the dude was he came to bang. So he like really showed me a lot about myself and showed me like, yo, you believe you belong in this sport. You belong in here. Like, you can do this. And then my last fight really just, I was like, man, this guy ain't nothing different than the guy I fought before. The guy I fought before was the same. It's just this guy is just a little bit bigger, just a little bit taller. That's it. Other guy was a beast too. So yeah, man, I think that my fourth pro fight is what really taught me a lot. I'd say my last fight, I would say for the Contenders fight, taught me that I don't care about the cameras. Taught me that I don't care about who's watching. I don't care about the cameras. At the end of the day, as soon as that cage locks, I'm fighting. Like, I'm none of that. No, I didn't feel no jitters. I didn't feel no. I wasn't nervous. No, I was like, as soon as I walked into that cage, I was like, let's get it. Let's go. Let's bang.
I guess if you were at that fight, your fourth pro fight, and you have some footage, you better put it out loud so you can see it. Everybody can see it, man.
I don't have any footage. They won't even give me the footage for that fight. It sucks, because that was a really, and that fight really helped. Like that fight was one of the fights that I really showed my wrestling in that fight, because everybody always looks at me as just a striker. They're like, oh, he's a striker. Like, no, honestly, I spend a lot of time grappling. I love to grapple. I love wrestling. And then, like, in my last fight, they were like, oh, he showed that he could wrestle and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you see my fourth fight, then you see that I could wrestle too. Like the Oklahoma, that's when I learned that Oklahoma loves you if you're a wrestler. If you can wrestle, like they were loving the wrestling. We were striking, they're like, oh, and we were banging. We were striking, and they're like, oh, as soon as I get a takedown, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I like this place. You guys are lit.
How did you feel at lightweight compared to fighting at welterweight?
Oh man, I'm naturally a lightweight. I'm a lightweight. I'm not a welter. Only reason I've ever fought at welterweight is because of its short notice. So early in my professional career, I was working a lot. I was doing like promo work and stuff. And it would take a lot of time away from me. Like, I'd be out some days I'd work 30 days a week or 30 days a month. I'd work every single day. Man, there was some days where I had 26-hour work days. There were some days where I worked almost like back straight into a full day, entire day, 24 hours. So being able to come into the gym really wasn't a choice for me. So when I was able to come in, it was like a week at a time or something. So I'd come in and I'd be fresh, I'd be good. And my coach would be like, man, you look really good. Like, let's get you a fight real quick. Like, we got this. How about you hop on this? I'm like, oh, well. He's like, well, look, you're not in here often, so we need to get you some wins. Like, we need to get you some fights under your belt. And so I would take all these fights on short notice. I'd take every single one of my professional fights, other than my last fight was a short notice fight. So, like, man, I wouldn't cut no weight. I wouldn't cut no weight. I'd just go in walking at 70. I go in walking at 170 pounds, not even. Like, most of the time I'm walking at like 168. So, like, I'm really a 55er, 100% 55er. I fought even at 45 before. I don't know if I'd go back to 45. I like 55 a lot. But I felt great, man.
Yeah.
I felt amazing.
45 is a stretch right there, right? That's miserable right there. But
oh, dude, it's terrible.
yeah, I know guys that fight at welterweight right now that did shrink down to 145, and I was like, man, how did you even do that? That just shows you how mentally strong how fighters are, man. These people talk about they're brutes, man, and they don't have no brains. Come on, man. Like, you gotta be mentally strong to get down that weight.
Yes. You have to have large amounts of discipline. I like my homie was like, dude, like, you literally eat the same thing. All you eat are eggs. I'm like, dog, like, I gotta maintain my physique. I gotta maintain where I can drop down within at least 2 weeks. But I can make 55 in 2 days. Like, I can make 55 easy. And that's how it should be. That's how these guys are able to take these short notice fights and do well in these short notice fights. You should always stay ready. There is no days off. Like, I was walking to the car and I was on the phone with my girlfriend, and I'm just like, oh my God, it was one of my bad days. I was just exhausted. And I was like, God damn, I can't wait until after this. Like, I can just relax and I can just act. And then I'm thought to myself, I was like, relax. There is no relax. Like, we get no days off. There is no days off. There's no off season for this. There's no, oh, we're going to spend 2 months doing whatever I want. No, there's going to be a month of whatever. It's going to be 3 weeks of doing whatever I want. And then I put month back into preparation and then right back into fight. Like there is no days off. There is no, you have to rest for sure, get your rest. And that's part of your training. Resting is part of your training. But like, days off, man, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's no off season in this sport.
Tucker Lutz, man, the guy, he fought, I believe, a week before you did, and he also got a win. Now you guys are back together, meeting for that contract. What do you think about him in the matchup?
Man, I think the matchup's great. I love it. I love the look of it. I know that, I mean, he comes to fight, but I just don't think that he brings what my last opponent brings. My last opponent you could tell that he really, really, really wanted it. Really, really wanted it. And we were in there fighting for our lives. Like, it was a rough fight. And I just don't think that this guy brings the same mentality. This guy doesn't bring that heart like my last guy. So I like this matchup a lot. I feel very confident in this. And I think that I'm going to be able to really show the world what I can do. I can't wait to get in there.
What are the differences heading into this fight compared to the one in September?
The differences? I mean, this guy does like to wrestle a little bit. I mean, but I'm not worried about any of that. This guy likes to wrestle, so he's a little bit different. I would say that his striking is a little bit more crisp than my last guy. But again, like, I outstruck that dude by a large amount. So, I mean, I feel confident. I feel great. I feel really good. And I look at it like this: his last fight, the guy that he fought came in 7 days notice, and you couldn't put that dude away. Like, so, like, it just says a lot about you as a fighter, and it shows what you can bring. So, I look forward to this. I look forward to this a lot. I can't wait.
Going through all of that stuff, in your first appearance, mentally, are you in a different space going into this fight?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I always feel confident. I always feel confident in myself. I always feel confident that I'm putting in the work that I should put in. But honestly, I think that I'm in even better shape this camp. Like my last fight was the first time I've ever used a strength and conditioning coach. I've never done strength and conditioning. I've never done any type of like, I've never done any of that. Like I just go run. I go run hills all the time. This time I'm like almost 2 months into like solid strength and conditioning, 3 months into solid strength and conditioning, and it's really showing. Like my power is increased a lot, my speed is increased a lot, my physique is increased a lot. I feel like a whole new man, honestly. I feel great. I feel like a professional athlete.
The week they came back from Fight Island, the Contender Series, you know, it was like Anderson Silva appreciation night, 2 front kick knockouts. I feel like that's something you are able to do, man. Did you see that get hyped a little bit?
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah. I'm not gonna spill any beans about anything, but I think I love that. I love it. I love it.
Visualize the win. What do you see?
I think I knock him out. I think I knock him out. I'm not gonna tell you how, but I think I knock him out.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Knock him out or TKO. Either a knockout or a TKO.
All right. One last thing.
One of the two is going down.
All right. One last thing before I let you go. You know, there's many different types of competitors in this sport. You know, and there's many different categories, but I feel like the 2 categories are martial artists and a prize fighter. Where do you feel like you fit in most at this moment in your career?
I mean, I'm not quite sure. I never put any thought into that. I always wanted to be a prize fighter because it sounds cool, but like all it is us fighting for money. Like that would be us as a prize fighter. So I guess I am a prize fighter, and I'll go with prize fighter. I'll go with prize fighter. I am a martial artist, absolutely, but I'd say I'm a prize fighter. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm looking to make some money, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're going to make some money on November 17th, man. Dana White's Contender Series,
cashing checks and
UFC, Apex. Thank you so much for the time, man. All the best. And hopefully when I speak to you again, it'll be before your UFC debut.
Hell yeah, brother. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.